On this week's episode, we have a very special guest for our NFL Draft Day episode. We have Eric Crocker Crocky. He played in the NFL. He played cornerback. I couldn't think of a better person to come on and talk to us on draft day. Everybody say hey to Eric, and thank you so much for being here with us.
Oh yeah, anytime. I tell people all the time. Anytime I have the chance or the opportunity to talk about some football, I'm all for it.
Yeah, I would say football is a big thing around here at Her Sports Convo. But tell us like how you got started playing football, how you got into it.
So with me it was different. Being a young kid, like we would play. I had a big brother. You know what I'm saying? He's 4 years older than me, and I always wanted to be like him. So, we were both pretty talented. In the neighborhood, they wouldn't let us be on the same team because we would always win. But I didn't get to play a whole lot of organized sports. Growing up, like where I grew up and everything, we didn't have a lot of money, so I didn't really play organized sports like that really until like high school. And even then, like in high school, I dealt with a lot of like ineligibility like issues and yeah, a lot of eligibility issues. My junior year, I only played 5 games because of grades. My senior year, I only played 5 games because of grades. So then I went to college. I went to Delta College in Stockton, California, a junior college, and flunked out of there because of grades. So I mean, the grades thing, it was something that really haunted me for a long time. But by the age of 22, finally went back to junior college and I played. Yeah, I played at the age of 20, 21, 22. From there, I earned a scholarship. I ended up going off to University of Arkansas Monticello, which is a Division II school. And then from there, went to the Arena Football League, and then boom, went to the NFL from there. So my journey, my path, like there were a lot of twists and turns, and I had to fight through a lot of different adversities that were really my fault.
Yeah.
Like I brought a lot of that on to myself, but I wouldn't change any of it because I think the person that and man that it made me and me understanding like what's possible if you focus and put your head down and do things, now I feel like I can do anything, so as long as I put the energy into it, I feel like I can do anything. So um a very unique path, playing sports and everything. And I feel like there's more people like me in the sense of everything not really going their way, not being a 5-star, 4-star, 3-star athlete coming out of high school, not having, being big time recruited or anything like that, having, eligibility issues. I feel like there's more people like me than there are people that just go straight into having everything, doing very well, going off to college, going straight to the NFL. That's a path that I think a good amount, obviously are able to do it, but there's more people I feel like that struggle with different things along the way and
Oh,
have to figure out how to fight through adversity.
oh yeah, and then that's the stuff that sets you apart because, like, not saying that they don't want it more that had the straight line, but you had to overcome so much more to get there. You have a little bit more to fight for. But you said you took some time. You got out of one JUCO and you ended up at another. What made you go back to JUCO and was like, got to get it?
Ooh. All right, so I had a son. I had a son at the age of 19. And I dropped out of college and everything, junior college, and I was just working like various jobs. I mean, I worked Toys R Us, Babies R Us, various warehouse jobs. I did security for a little bit. I did other things I'm not proud of, just trying to make quick money.
Mm-hmm.
Me and my best friend, he's like my brother, really. He's my brother. We did a lot of things we weren't proud of, but my brother went to jail and he did some time. And when he got out, he was like, man, like this stuff that we be doing, and that's not what our life should be. We need to be playing football, going to college, doing something like have that experience. And I decided ultimately to go back because I didn't want to be a parent that, told my son like, hey, go to college, do this, do that. But it's like, well, if I ain't really try and put my best foot forward, like I got, faithfully tell him to do that. So um, I went back for my son. Obviously, I went back for myself, and yeah, that's how I ended up getting back to junior college at an older age. A lot of people. I remember one coach was like, me and my best friend, we were working out. We're the same age. We're both 21. We're both born in May, but we were both 21 at this time. And I remember seeing a coach from the previous junior college that we went to, and he was like, "Oh, you guys, trying to play football again? Don't you think it's a little too late for that? You know, and I'm just like, man, like I got to make this count, you know? So, yeah, that's kind of how all that played out.
Yeah, it's never too late to chase your dreams. If you got it, you gotta put in the work and the work ethic for it.
Right.
And so you went from JUCO. Now you're at your D2 school. Can you tell us like how that transition go? How did you decide to go there?
So because of my past, eligibility issues from my freshman year in junior college, my grades they were all over the place, and then being out for a while, my time clock was messed up. So I had to go Division 2, Division 3 NAI. I had some D1s that were really interested, but it was like, well, you can't touch him because of his the grades and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So I was getting recruited by a bunch of schools, which in California, they don't really have Division 2 schools. So I think at this time they had one, like Humboldt State. I think that was it. And then eventually they got Azusa Pacific, which at this time was an NAIA school. But they eventually went to D2, but now they don't even have a program. Matter of fact, now neither one of them have a program. So there weren't any other Division 2 programs in California when I was coming out. So, and I visited some Division 3 schools, but they were talking about paying all this money. I'm like, man, I'm not paying for college. Like, that was just my mindset. Like, I'm not paying for college, especially when I have these colleges in these other places willing to pay me, to go to their school. So pay me, scholarship, academically.
The legal way.
I had to kind of decide, like, all right, like, what am I going to do? So I had a bunch of different offers from places like, North Dakota, South Dakota, colleges in, obviously Arkansas, where I ended up going, but Texas, Oklahoma, like all these different places. And I had never been anywhere. I had never been, we're talking about I'm 22 years old, trying to pick a college to go to. I had never stepped foot out of California. So I didn't know what the weather was like anywhere else. I didn't know what it would look like. And I didn't know anything. So the first time I left California was, I ended up signing with University of Arkansas, Monticello. And the reasoning for that was, they had a coach that had played defensive back in the NFL. And I liked the thoughts of that. Somebody just kind of being able to help me, mentally understand the process of everything. They had an indoor practice facility. So I'm like, okay, I don't know what the weather's going to be like anywhere else, but at the end of the day, at least they got an indoor practice facility if the weather gets bad, And then for the most part, and then they played in a tough conference. Like it was like the best Division 2 conference at the time, like it's Gulf South Conference. So in the same conference as like North Alabama, Valdosta, Delta State, West Georgia, like all these like big dogs in Division 2 football. And I really like the thought of being able to compete against that type of talent, each week. So that was kind of how I ended up going there. And it was a culture shock. Going somewhere right now, I'm back in Arkansas now. I just moved back last year, but I'm looking out my window and it's like nothing but trees. I just see like, the woods all right here. It's not like that where I'm from, like, in California and Stockton. So that was weird. Just like not really seeing anything. There's no like big cities. You got Little Rock, which is like half the population of Stockton where I'm from. And Stockton's not nowhere near to being the biggest city in California, but Little Rock's the biggest city here and it's half the population of Stockton. So that was crazy. And then something that people probably really don't even think about too much, but the way it is here, you're either white or you're black. And that was very weird to me because coming from California, especially Stockton, I think I just saw something. Stockton is the most diverse city in America. So me coming from Stockton, that's so diverse. You see every type of person, whatever mixture you can kind of come up with, and then say, hey, I want a human that looks like that. You have it. Like my son, I had at 19 years old, he's black because I'm black, and then his mom is half Puerto Rican, half Filipino. So I got a Puerto Rican, Filipino, and black son. Like there's just so many, it's so diverse there in California. You come here, you're either white or you're black. And there's no guarantee that, these white people are going to like you, what I'm saying? So then you start to kind of deal with the aspect of that where it's really hit and miss. There are some amazing like white folks out here that love me. And there are some other ones that, I've noticed have been like standoffish and like not as welcoming. So for the most part, they treat me amazing out here. A lot of people, but coming here when I was in college, I had the dreads, all these tattoos and stuff. I could tell I was viewed kind of in a different light a little bit. So it was different. It was very unique. But again, I wouldn't trade that experience of seeing something else. You know what I'm saying? For anything, I'm really appreciative of the things that football has brought to me. Just me being able to see more than just what I grew up seeing in Stockton.
Because you went from that kind of culture shock and away from going to a place where you were comfortable from, and now you're almost crossway across the state. You went to arena football after that. How did that decision to go to arena football, like, how did you come up with that?
All right, so that was a blessing. So a cousin of mine, Tyrone Gross, big shout out to Tyrone Gross, um, big cousin. He's from Stockton. He played in the NFL. Matter of fact, when he signed with the San Diego Chargers, they were San Diego Chargers at this time. When he signed with San Diego Chargers, me and him, we were sharing a bedroom, like, so we were sharing a bedroom. He ended up signing with the Chargers, and obviously, like, he was with them for 3 years, blew his knee out though. Well, my last year of my senior year in college, halfway through the year, he hits me and he's like, "Hey, cousin, like, just to let you know, I'm going to be director of player personnel of this arena league team." And I don't really know nothing about it. I mean, I remember arena league when I was a kid and I saw it on TV a little bit, but I didn't really know much about it. And he's telling me, he's like, "Hey, I can't guarantee you a spot on this team, but I can give you a spot in camp. So what you do with it from there, it's up to you. Like, whatever work you put in to be able to make it." Just thinking like, okay. And I actually had a coach. Well, I didn't even tell any of my coaches about this opportunity yet, but I had a coach tell me, hey, Croc, there's some these lower level arena teams that like you. Like, there's different levels of arena league. There's the arena football league. That's the main one. The AFL, that's the main one. And you'll see, like, if you look on Twitter or whatever, like, you might look in somebody's bio and it will say like arena football league player, but a lot of times it don't be the highest level arena. So a lot of times it'd be like indoor football league or all these other little leagues that they have. And it was one of these other little leagues and a few teams like me. And one of my coaches was like, and I swear, he says he didn't say this, but he said it. He was like, I don't know if you could play there though. Like, I don't think you could play there. Like, that's what he told me. And I was just like, all right. The whole time I'm doing, I have a contract that I've signed and I just have to wait until my last game to send off for the highest arena league level.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, my cousin was player personnel. I don't know how he got it. I don't even know. I never even asked. So as soon as the season ended, I just boom, shot back to California. And I started training and working out and getting ready for this totally different league where, instead of 11 people on the field, there's 8 people. Instead of a 100-yard field, it's 50 yards. Instead of 53 yards wide, it's like half of that. So it was like a totally different game. They got guys going to motion. But my thing was, dude, this is an opportunity for you to be able to play football after college, which, when I was doing all that crazy stuff and, at 19, 20, 21, I would have never imagined me being able to be in this type of position to where now, hey, I'm playing on, I'm looking at the schedule like, damn, we play on NFL Network, then we play on CBS, then we play on ESPN. Like, I would have never imagined that. So I took it very serious, and I understood like what type of hard work I was going to have to put into it. And I worked my butt off. And sure enough, I ended up starting every single game as a rookie. And I was the only rookie that started every game. There was one other rookie that would have started every game, but he ended up going to the NFL halfway through the season. And then he passed away. So RIP, JB. But yeah, I was the only rookie on that team to start every game. And it was awesome. It was awesome. I mean, that was my first time really, like, we're flying to different states, staying there every other weekend. I'm partying after games and all these different places. And I just thought, like, dang, this is like, I get paid, which my rookie, I didn't get paid much. I was making like $500-$600 a week, like, but they took care of my housing and everything. But I made like $500-$600 a week, which I ain't care. It's like, well, I get paid. I don't pay for nothing. And I'm flying to different states every other weekend. They give you $100 and some per diem to be in this different place for 2 days. So all that was like crazy to me. Like, all right, like, I'm going to places like, we had a game in Des Moines, Iowa, and like that might have been the most popping place we've been over here. I'm like, wow, who knew that Iowa would be cracking? Like, we had a game in Kansas City, and after the game, we went to this thing called the Power and Light District or something like that, and it was on Cinco de Mayo night.
Oh
Oh,
Lord.
the most beautiful women I've ever seen. Like, I mean, thousands and thousands of people. Like, it was amazing. So that rookie year, I didn't make a lot of money, but just the experience of just traveling and seeing these different places and stuff. Again, I appreciated it so much because I have been at the bottom of the bottom of the bottom, you know, and I understood, like, you know, I remember sleeping on friends' couches and stuff, you know. So to go from that to get a scholarship to go to the Arena League and have this opportunity, and we're flying around and I'm having a fun time, a great time, like that was like, man, this is amazing.
You're
So
like, oh, this is it. Did you ever like kind of have a moment in like, oh, like I can like do this professionally. Like this could be a career for me.
um I think I knew I could play. My guy JB, he reached out to me. He had signed with the Colts, the one that passed away, but he had signed with the Colts, and he messaged me on Facebook, and he was like, "Hey, just to let you know, Colts are looking at you." That was when I was like, "Okay, like maybe there's more to my journey than just playing in the Arena Football League."
That's good to know because you never, like I said, you never know who's gonna message you, who's gonna call you. So you always gotta always play your best game. May
Yeah,
it be in a sport or in life, because you never know what's coming around the corner, who's looking, who's talking to you.
right.
You know, you did get to the NFL, you did get that opportunity, and it wasn't with the Colts, it was with the Jets. So how did we get there? What was that moment like?
Whew, I feel like I made my life a lot harder than it had to be, but so the way that this all worked out, midway through my rookie year, I got arrested for a DUI, right? And it wasn't what they call it, wet and reckless or something like
Mm-hmm.
that, because I wasn't drunk, but I just had alcohol in my system and was driving. So it wasn't. I think the legal limit is what, point zero 0.08 or whatever, or point 0.8, whatever it is, point zero 0.08. I was at like point 0.5 or point 0.5 or whatever. So that essentially that's like drinking like two beers, and which I don't drink beers, but it's like drinking two beers and like having that in your system and getting pulled over. And I was supposed to be doing like community service and all this other stuff, but I'm like, man, I ain't doing this stuff. So I just didn't do it. Right. So again, this is me making things a lot harder than what it had to be. So initially what they told me was you have to do your community service hours. You have to get this breathalyzer thing put in your car. Like, I'm not doing that. You have to, and then you're on probation for a year, and I could not leave the county, Bear County, which is San Antonio. And I'm like, and there was some. I feel like there was one other thing, but either way, I was like, I ain't doing this stuff, right? So I just didn't do nothing. I just went. We played the rest of the year, and when the season ended, I went home. Like I went to California. As soon as I got back to California, there was this other league that had started up, and it had been going on for a couple years now, and it was called the UFL, and they were paying like $5,000 a week. So me coming from playing the Arena League where I wasn't getting paid that much, I'm like, shoot, I get a chance to make 5 bands a week. I'm going to this tryout. So I went to the tryout, and I actually did very well. They talked to me afterwards, like I killed it, but they didn't bring me on because I didn't have NFL next to my name. And there's a lot of politics when it comes to sports. But there was an agent there. They didn't keep me, but there was an agent there, and the agent was like, "Hey man, like I remember you from playing, blah blah." You used to dreads because I had dreads. I had just cut my dreads off. So they were like, you know, I want to represent you. And I'm like, cool, an agent wants to represent me. Great. Can you give me to the CFL? That's what I'm thinking. Like, and he was like, oh yeah, like, so then he starts to do his work or whatever, and he's realizing, hey, every team in the AFL wants you. Like, what'd you do? And I was like, well, I had a good year, but I don't care about the AFL. Can you get me to the CFL? And he was like, oh, you got to crawl before you walk, blah, 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 right? So I'm like, man, like, I know I've had interest from like some NFL teams. Like, I felt like I did a lot. I had a good year. My tape was good as a rookie, like, right? So I ended up getting a new agent. And actually, let me rewind just a little bit. So I'm in California. All that stuff is happening. I went to the workout, killed it, blah blah. I'm meeting with his agent. He's like, okay, I can help you. My probation officer from San Antonio calls me and says, I put a warrant out for your arrest. You're not doing whatever you're supposed to do, blah blah. You athletes, you guys think you guys getting away with everything. She gave me that whole spiel. And I said, okay. I hung up with her, and I literally drove straight back to San Antonio. And I got a job working at Macy's for like $7 an hour. I literally drove like 24 hours straight. I think I stopped like once to take like a 2-hour power nap. Then I drove again. Got to my homegirl Aubrey's house. She let me stay with her for a little bit until I was able to get on my feet. got my own apartment out there and everything that the team helped me with. And then, so then I asked it, I had to end up signing back with them, which I didn't want to do, but I kind of had, they helped me with the situation. I now started doing all the stuff I was supposed to do with, I had to go do these little classes. It was a 1 weekend where I had to do like Saturday. It was like a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I had to do this alcohol class thing or whatever. I did that. I paid my fine of $3,200. And then I had to do all the community service, which I met some great kids. I ended up doing community service for a Pop Warner football team, and I would go to their practices and help out and do that whole thing. So I got all my hours. The parents loved me. I still have a relationship with a lot of those kids and parents to today. So the kids are all now, they're going off to college and everything. And I communicate with some of the parents and kind of help them with the process and everything. But they were kids at then. I mean, they were like 9, 10 years old.
Yeah.
And now they're going to college. So that's pretty cool. So I knock out everything I was supposed to do. Eventually, my girlfriend at the time, she was like, well, why don't I just come out there and I can just live out there and you can do all your stuff and since you're going to be out there. And I was like, all right. So I go to get her. I think I flew out to get her and then drove back. We got to Texas and I ended up getting pulled over about 3 hours from San Antonio, where this is us driving back with all her stuff in the car, everything. And they take me to jail. I had a warrant. So I'm like, damn. So the next day I got out and she drove the rest of the way to San Antonio, had to come back the very next day to come get me, which was like a few hours. And they gave me a court date. And I'm like, okay, I got court Wednesday. We'll just say February 27th. We'll just throw a date out there.
Yeah.
So February 27th, I got court. I'm not thinking nothing of it. I'm working, whatever, I'm doing things. I'm kind of working out a little bit, but not as much because I'm working these crazy hours to try to make a low money because the pay was so low. Eventually the agent, he's not really giving me anything. He's just like, oh, blah, blah, these AFL teams want you. And I'm like, well, I'm signed back to San Antonio, so I guess I don't really need you anymore. That's what I'm thinking. Like, what do I have you for? So my cousin Tyrone, that had got me the shot in the AFL to begin with, he was like, hey, talk to Devin Mays, my boy Devin Mays. He was like, talk to Devin Mays' agent. He got Devin Mays a bunch of workouts. So I'm like, all right, let me talk to Devin's agent. So I get him on the phone. He sends me, he was like, can you send me your film? So I sent him the link to my YouTube. He watches it. I hear him on the phone like, okay. Oh, damn, we got something here. He was like, we got something here. He was like, I'm going to call you back. So I don't hear from him for about 2 weeks. He texts me, what are your pro day numbers, right? Well, what are your workout numbers coming out of college? Text him back. I didn't do a pro day because I went straight to the Arena Football League. He was like, okay, I'm going to hit you back. About a week later, he hits me and says, hey, the BC Lions of the CFL want to bring you to any workout that you want to go to. Whatever workout you want to go to, they will fly you to that workout. I'm like, what? So I've been having this attitude this whole time. And you know what I'm saying? He's telling me like, oh, I can't help, like, blah, you got to crawl before you walk, all this. This guy right away, hey, got BC Lions and they claimed you. They did this thing to where nobody else could claim me. And they just wanted to see me work out so they can get times on me and sign me. I'm like, great. He was like, but first you have to sign with me. And I'm like, all right. So I fired my other agent, which was hard because I'm such a nice guy. So it was hard for me to like fire somebody. So I had to fire him and I signed him. Boom, signed the contract, sent it over to him. I kid you not. Within 2 hours, maybe 3 hours. Well, I'd say within 2 hours, 3 NFL teams hit him. And we're like, hey, this kid, Eric Crocker, like, what's the deal? Woo, woo. And then within another few hours, that number had grew to 10 NFL teams.
Whoa. And
it was the coach who had knew about me, but they were kind of sitting on it because they probably didn't have to bring me in because nobody else had really knew about me. The Cowboys, the Dolphins, the Jets, just a bunch of teams. And then the Saints were the first team that were like, hey, Packers was another team. The Cowboys, like, there were a bunch of teams. The Saints were like, shoot, we'll fly him in 2 days. Remember, this whole time I'm on probation. I'm not supposed to leave. It was like, we'll fly him in 2 days. So the Saints flew me in during the Super Bowl when the Niners were playing the Ravens. So the Saints flew me in at that time for a private workout. They didn't sign me, but they offered to bring me into rookie minicamp. I was like, whoa, that's awesome. I'll do that. Next, the Eagles were like, oh, well, we want to fly him in. So a week later, they flew me in. And then after they didn't sign me, they were like, oh, he's too out of shape. He needs to work on his 40 time, yada, yada, yada. So my agent was like, fly to California, work on the things that you need to work on. And then the Jets are bringing you in 2 weeks. So you got 2 weeks in better shape and learn how to run a 40 time. So I flew home, did great on my worked on my 40, got in better shape. I'm running, I'm working out, I'm doing everything possible, doing yoga, all that. And I end up the Jets schedule my workout, and they're like, all right, here's your day that we fly you out. So they're like, we'll just say February 27th, right? We'll just say February 27th, we're gonna fly you in. February 28th is gonna be a workout. And I'm like, okay, so Wednesday, okay. There's something funny about that day. I don't know, it sounds really familiar, but all right. So I'm like, yeah, great. Like, okay, let me go. So I'm getting ready for it. And next thing I know, I'm like, wait a minute.
It's your court date.
I got court. Wait, what day do I got court? Oh, no, I got court the same day as I'm supposed to be flying out. And I'm looking at the times. I'm flying out much earlier than my court time. So I had to contact the Jets. I had to tell them, hey, a friend of mine, he passed away. We have a funeral we have to go to Wednesday. Can you guys push my flight back later? They're like, sure, no problem. So they pushed my flight back. I was able to go to court. I wasn't supposed to leave, but I presented everything that I had done up until that time. Like I had everything. I had a good lawyer too, because he got me off the breathalyzer thing, but I was able to give them all my hours. I had great letters of recommendation. I did the classes. I got the certificates for that. I paid the fines. Everything that I had to do, boom, I had it. And that was a blessing. My probation officer was not trying to let me go. The judge overruled it and allowed me to go on my visit. So the judge still, they never knew anything about it, but I was able to make all that happen. And yeah, that was that. And I ended up going to, obviously my workout. I had a good workout. I didn't think they were going to sign me. And then halfway through the physical portion of it, they were like, hey, my agent hit me and was like, don't fail this physical. As long as you pass the physical, they're going to sign you. And that was kind of how that moment went. And
if you would have told somebody that, they've been like, why did you make up that elaborate story just to like get to the part that you went to the NFL? Because that's like some stuff you see on the TV. Like they try to like they try to like flip all their things together and they wake up one day, and that's crazy.
I'm happy they didn't say, well, can you bring the little pamphlet that shows your friend died or something? Because I know I didn't have that.
Yeah, you're gonna roll up on somebody's like grandma funeral, like, can I borrow one of those programs, please?
Yeah.
You got to the NFL and you were known for like, your position and your quarterback and your like film knowledge. So how did you like use that to like have a prominent spot on your team, or do you think that really helped you get on the team?
No, so the NFL, man, the way it works, it's just a business, and I think you understand that. I reported to OTAs, and I'd say from the time OTAs to the final time I got cut, like you just see guys in and out like the whole time. Guys getting cut, they're always bringing in guys to work out, and you understand it's a numbers game. When I finally got released for the final time, it was because two other guys were hurt. It wasn't that like, oh, Eric Crocker can't play. It was just like, well, Joe McKnight's hurt. Brian Winters is hurt. RIP Joe McKnight. He passed away. He got killed. But Joe McKnight's hurt. Brian Winters is hurt. Oh, we can let go of Crocker. Like, we'll fill this role. And that was what they did. So, whether I, film or whatever, like that wasn't going to save me. Like, I'm probably more known for that stuff now than I was at that time. At that time I was still, 24, 25 years old, because all that kind of happened fast. But, still trying to, I don't want to say find myself. I knew what I wanted, but yeah, just that whole process, there was a lot that I learned. As a matter of fact, a lot of the stuff I talk about now and the film study and all that stuff I do on Twitter and Patreon and all these different things, a lot of it's just off of my experiences, from playing ball.
Got to the NFL, which is, we all know, the pinnacle of football, and it kind of didn't end as ceremoniously as most people would like, but would you still say you like acknowledge that moment and that you got there to that point?
Everybody asks about like the NFL, like that was an amazing experience to me. Like I don't care about the part, obviously you would love to stay there for a long time, but to get released and all that, like I mean, I was there for a while. So to me, it was more so of just being able to have that experience. Like, I was in awe of being an arena league player at that time, making, $500 a week. and flying around. Like, so then now it's like I'm in the NFL, and I think the thing I was in awe of is like, wait a minute. So y'all mean to tell me I can take as many Gatorades home as I want? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that was the part. Like, I'm like, damn, like, I mean, I'm taking food from a restaurant. Like, they have like 5-star chefs and everything in there. Like, I got to eat turkey sausage. Like, no, not turkey sausage. Excuse me. It was chicken sausage, and I'm like, what the heck is like chicken sausage? And it was sausage links, but it was chicken. I had never heard of that. Like, so it's like, to me, like, those were the things I appreciated in the league. Like, getting out of a workout and my milk, my shake, my post shake being made with my name on it, and different little fruity drinks that I like. And it's like, here, grab this, and they knew exactly what I wanted, how I wanted it. It was that, I mean, just the experience of being there, waking up. I used to message my boys that were in the arena league, and I'd be like, hey, what y'all eating for breakfast? They'd be like, donuts. And I show them what I'm eating. It's like super omelet and all these different things that they cook in a restaurant for breakfast. So I think, like, I just appreciated that, like, just being there and being able to have that type of experience. Eventually I went back to the arena league. Like, I was the #1 overall pick in the 2014 this draft they had. And then from there I started making more money in the arena league. I think when I first got back, it was like I was making like 1,500 a week or something like that. And then the next year I made like triple that. So like, that was, I think everything kind of worked out how, God's plan. And now everything I do off the field kind of correlates to that, like all those experiences.
Getting into your off the field stuff.
When I first came out here, we were pretty cool with money, my wife and I. But I came across this opportunity to just, like, these people, we were furniture shopping, and people like, hey, I know you just moved here. Do you want a job? And I'm like, sure. All right. So I'm working in a furniture store for not much money, but me, it's like, whatever. Like, I'm willing to do things I don't really care to do. So I do that. One thing leads to another. I started training athletes in this area. There's no other trainers. And then I get into this spot. I quit my job. So now I have no guarantees or anything. It's like, all right, Eric, you're going to have to put in the time to really build up this training. So I quit my job and everything, started training kids. It started with one kid, and now I'm up to, like, 50 kids. And to the point where I'm at now, I've grown out of so fast. We're building a $300,000 facility, and those 50 kids is going to grow into 100 and 200 people. Like, you know what I'm saying? But I started with one person, and I trained that one person as if I was training a group of 20. Like, I was going that hard with just that one person, and people see the work you put in with things, and those things are going to grow. So I just feel like I'm like, and not to toot my own horn, but I'm like proof of, if you just grind and you hustle and you really have that type of mentality, then you can do whatever. Like, that's just how I feel.
Yeah, because I don't know if y'all guys see his like Instagram. He be like working those kids out, and I'm like, I'm tired just looking at it. So I could not imagine like pulling that. You be having them on the stream heads, they're like run and stuff with the bungee cord. I was like, I would fall out after like once.
Yeah. You'd be surprised though, because I mean, it one time, the first time you might, and the second time you get a little bit better, third time, and then after a little while, it's like, hey, this is easy. I got this. Then once you start seeing the results, that's what makes you go even harder.
You got into your business, Rise Athletics now, and like, how did you decide to bet on yourself in a way?
So I have trained athletes for the last 5 years in California. Mm-hmm. Now here it was different because I'm in a totally different demographic to where they don't know me.
Yeah.
Now, a quick Google search and they're like, oh, he played in the NFL, yada yada yada, like, so that, I think that definitely helps. But I knew that this area had the demand for it, so a lot of things are supply and demand as well. There was huge demand for what I brought. They just didn't have it. They didn't have it at all in this area. I mean, within that and a half radius of where I'm at. So I knew that it was something that could like be big and grow fast and be even much bigger than where it's even at right now. I just knew I had to figure out how to come about it. And I ran into some great people, a great person, Mr. Smith, who could kind of see the vision and wanted the kids to have something that they could do that's, really good for the community. And he felt like, I brought that type of, atmosphere to Monticello. So he's believed in me this whole time, and he's kind of given me that opportunity to be able to do it and grow my clientele and everything and help me with the business side of things. And that's been a blessing. So, I mean, having somebody that's in your corner, that goes a long way as well. But I knew what it could be. I mean, I knew. As a matter of fact, it's not nowhere near where it can be. It's solid right now. Like I'm good, but it ain't nowhere near what, when we look back on this conversation in 2 years, we're like, oh man, like you have a scholarship foundation and, all these different things that you've incorporated with the community and toy drives and Christmas drives, all these different things I plan on implementing. But it starts with my training. It starts with that.
And, you don't just train, football athletes. You have female athletes in there. Give yourself a little plug while you're at it.
Oh yeah. So yeah, I mean, we got the girls in there, and I get messages from girls and they're like, oh, I know you do football training, but I'm like, no, I don't do football training. Like I do training. I mean, well, yeah, I will have like specific stuff for football, but overall, like I want to just improve you as an athlete. I want to help you, learn how to run. Like I have some parents, I want my kid to get faster, right? And I'm like, all right. So the kid comes to me. Next thing you know, in a week, the kid is running fast. Like, oh man, like he used to be last, now he's first. And it's like, well, like, how'd you make him faster? And it's like, well, I didn't make him faster. I just taught him how to run. Like, and that's the first part. Like people think like, oh, like I'm some miracle worker. I'm not a miracle worker. Like the kid's just running like this. Like, of course he's gonna be slower. But once you learn how to, come more here with it, like just that little thing is gonna help fix his arms, his legs, everything, like understanding his knee drive, like continuing to work on those things, like that's gonna help him run faster. They see the coordination growing really fast, like things that's really helped. So when I have had females reach out to me and say, hey, we do this for someone, a parent with their daughters and stuff, I help them become, more coordinated, more, quick-footed. They'll change the direction. And I feel like a lot of what I implement applies to all sports, not just football.
Good job. Don't niche down too much. Keep your range wide open. Got to get everybody you can.
Yeah, need it, all of that.
So we have this little thing we play on the podcast, and I give you 3 words. With every word, you just say the first thing that comes to your mind, okay?
All right.
So first word, football.
Obsessed.
Okay, your next word, Temptation Island.
Oh, scary.
Yeah, I saw that tweet and I was like, you're a Temptation Island fan? Okay, I'm into it. I'm more of a Love Island kind of person.
So I have one friend out here really in Arkansas. And we went to college together. He's actually, I knew him from my hometown, Stockton, California. And he's from Atlanta though, but he went to junior college in Stockton. I ended up being able to get him to Monticello. He's actually been a firefighter in Atlanta, and he and his wife moved to like basically Little Rock, Arkansas. They run this business and they're doing great. But my wife and I, because we don't really know anybody else out here like that, we go. That's my dog too. That's my dog. We lived together when I was in college. That's my dog. He just happened to be an hour and a half away somehow. But so my wife and I, those are the only people we really know out here. So we every few weeks or so, we'll go out there. Sometimes we stay the night or whatever, but we'll have our kids play, play games, drinking games, all that type of stuff. But we were watching Temptation Island. I didn't know what it was. And I'm watching, I'm just like, who would do this? Like, who would set themselves up for that? Like, so when I watch it, like the first thing that comes to my mind is like scary. Cause like, this is scary. Like, I'm not putting myself in this position. Like, we're all human. I'm not doing this. So first word on Temptation Island, I've watched one season. And my wife and I started watching the next season. Yeah, scary. Sorry, I went on a rant, but yeah.
Hey, you're good. I saw that and I was like, okay, diversify. You never know what you might get. And your last word, junior college football.
A grind. Everybody that's at junior college, they're there for a reason. Whether maybe they are late bloomers or weren't as athletic or had academic issues, you have some type of things that you have to overcome, and it's a grind. You're not on scholarship. You have to figure out, your housing, your food. Me and my best friend that I talked about, we were eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches out the trunk of his car, or we would go down to the corner and eat 2 corn dogs from the corner store, like, for $1.50. So like, yeah, you ain't on meal plan or anything like that. You got to just figure out how to get it. So junior college, a grind.
Since this episode is going out on draft day, what would you tell the athletes that are going into the league this year that get drafted, that don't get drafted?
Just don't listen to the noise. There's going to be a lot of people that end up being in your corner. A lot of people that probably are in your corner, but the moment things fall off, maybe they won't be in your corner anymore, So you got to focus on you. That's the main thing. Focus on you. Like what do you got to do? Because the NFL life, it can be gone in a snap of a finger. Nothing is guaranteed. It's not guaranteed. Well, you're only guaranteed what's guaranteed to you, and a lot of these guys don't have much guarantees. So you have it's a business. It's a business first and foremost. The teams are going to do what's best for them. You have to figure out where you fit in with that and the work that you're going to have to put in, or you'll find yourself on the outside looking in.
That's great. I feel like I'm ready to go join the NFL. Obviously, I don't think they would take me, but but yeah,
Yeah.
thank you so much for coming on. Tell everybody where to find you, all your Instagram stuff, websites, all that good stuff.
All right. So yeah, I got you guys can follow me on Twitter at Eric_Crocker. I have the Crocker Report that's on Twitter. Crocker Report is at Crocker Report. And crockerreport.com. Now my Patreon account, which you guys go subscribe, boost my numbers. But I have my Patreon account, patreon.com/Croc Talk, which I put out like tons of draft content. I have a exclusive podcast that I posted there. I have a lot of good stuff that's coming up on there. But yeah, my Patreon, that's my baby right now that I've been really putting a lot of time and effort and working on. So my Patreon, and then obviously Instagram. If you guys want to see kind of a little bit more of my personal life, what I do, I post to my Instagram. That's croctime_you.
Yeah, all that would be in the description down below. Thank you guys for listening and or watching. Thank you for coming on.
All right, anytime. Appreciate you for having me on.
Be safe, have fun, and don't be afraid to join the convo.